Thank you, Shelley. I don't pay you nearly enough for the nice things you say about me. So good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you all for your patience and allowing me to fit a lot of things into one day. I'm excited to be with you. Shelley talked about the July. I'm in July for some reason. The January 25th workshop, which is going to be here. It's the inaugural version of the How to Speak Your Truth workshop. One of the things I find in the world and in my own life was that when it really mattered to say the things that are important, to say the things that are on our minds, especially for people in relationships. A lot of times people are in relationships and they just assume that if the person that they're in a relationship with loved them, they would just know. They would just know what they needed. They would just know everything. It'd be perfect. And it's a great story to tell, and very few of us are actually mind readers. So, if you're someone that understands the importance of speaking your truth in your life, in your job, in your relationships, everywhere you go, and you realize the freedom that could give you, and you understand that if you ask, you might not get, but if you don't ask, you definitely won't get. So it's important to be able to speak your truth, and that really is the crux of the January 25th workshop that we're going to be doing here. Shelley has graciously opened her home for me to do that, and it's the first one, and ultimately my goal is to take this through the state and then around the country, and who knows from there. So it's an opportunity to get in early. The discount offer is based upon being willing to be filmed, and Bruce is going to be my videographer for that event. And it's going to be something that will take you through a whole journey. You might be familiar, this is my book called How Speaking Your Truth Could Save Your Life and How It Saved Mine. I'll be pulling from here, and I'll be actually taking a few things from there today. So with that, thank you all for coming. We are entering into an exciting and potentially scary time in the life of our planet. Let me read some things to you. Julian Assange, WikiLeaks, Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, sexual slavery, government corruption, varsity blues, Me Too, incest, separation, isolation, addictions, suicide, depression, loneliness. What do all of these have in common? They are all part of the forbidden world of secrets. So, as I was preparing for this, I was looking to see what I could find about secrets and 5D consciousness. Well, I didn't find anything, and then I realized why. 5D consciousness is unity consciousness. It means we're all together. And secrets are about separation. When we carry secrets, we are literally separating ourselves from the people around us. And so the reason secrets are not talked about in 5D is because they won't exist. And it's really important for us to understand that. So everything right now as we move into 5D, a world where there won't be any secrets, guess what has to happen between now and then? All the secrets get to come out. Everything that has been hidden is going to come out, and this is exactly what we're seeing. This week, a few days ago, as Harvey Weinstein was beginning his trial in New York, in LA, they were filing new charges against him. So all of this is starting to come out, and everything that was been hidden is no longer going to be hidden. Cryon, from one of his most recent channels in Boulder, Colorado, which was last weekend, he said, you become more of a soul than a human, and that is called ascension. So that is really where we are headed. We are moving from being focused on being just human and focusing on what our higher selves, our souls, are calling us to do. And secrets is something really powerful, something that we get to let go of. So as we move into this, it can be pretty powerful, it can be pretty scary for some people. So what I'd like to do is start with a guided meditation to bring us into the space of being able to deal with this whole concept of secrets. So if you would close your eyes. I'm going to ask you to take 3 deep breaths. It's Saturday morning. You've just opened your eyes. The sun is shining in your room where you've been sleeping. And something has tugged at you, suggested that you go out to your mailbox and you put on your slippers and you walk outside, you walk to your mailbox and you open it. And inside you find an envelope. And that's odd because the mail doesn't come this early on Saturday. So you open the envelope and you look inside and you see what appears to be a map. And you say to yourself, wow, this looks really interesting. It looks like it wants me to take a drive out into the country. It looks like a really nice day for that, so I'm going to do it. So you get dressed, have breakfast, you get in your car, and you drive out to the country. And you're driving past this beautiful field full of yellow flowers. And you decide that there's a space on the side of the road for you to park your car. So you pull over to the side of the road, unbuckle your seatbelt, get out of the car, cross the road, and you discover that there's a path through all of these flowers. And you decide to follow it. So you start walking and you walk through the flowers and you notice that up ahead is a forest. And you continue to walk and the path continues to lead you. And now you're moving from the yellow flowers into the purple ones. The purple ones are just before you enter the forest itself. And you continue to walk. You take some deep breaths and you just love the feeling and love the smell of the morning air. You continue to walk and now you're feeling the pine needles under your feet. And every once in a while you're hitting a pine cone with your foot. And you keep walking. And the forest starts to get a little darker. But then as you're walking, you look up ahead. And you see a bridge. And you continue to walk. As you get closer to the bridge, you see that there's a small figure standing on the bridge in the center. You continue to walk, and this morning you're enjoying your walk, but there's something nagging at you. There's secrets that you have in your life. There's secrets that you've been asked to keep by other people. There are things you've done in your life, things you're aware that other people have done in their lives, and for the first time it's starting to weigh you down. And you're having all of these feelings like something isn't quite right. But you continue walking toward the bridge. And as you get closer to the bridge, you realize that the figure standing on the bridge is you as a 5-year-old child. And as you continue to walk, you see that the child is holding a sign. You get a little closer now. The letters are getting larger. You're almost able to read what's on the sign. And you get close, and all these thoughts of secrets are still there with you. And then you stop, dead in your tracks. Because now you can read the letters on the sign. And you slowly read it. And it says, you are innocent. And you realize that everything that you've done, everything that you've thought to do, every secret you've kept, every secret you've held, and all the pain that it's caused you, and all the shame that it's caused you, that none of it is real. And the truth of you is that you are innocent. And you take a moment to collect your thoughts, and you let go of the secrets, and you embrace the thought of you as innocent. And you walk up onto the bridge, and you hug the 5-year-old version of you. And in that moment, you're healed of all the pain, of all the shame, of all the secrets that you've carried for yourself, carried for others, or asked others to carry for you. With that healing complete, you know that your mission is done. You understand the purpose of why you came to this place on this day. And you turn around, you give the child one last enormous hug, and decide that it's time to walk back into your life, completely free of the secrets and of the shame that they've caused and that you've carried through much of your life. You walk back through the forest, back through the purple flowers, back through the yellow flowers to your car. You get in your car and you drive home. And you get ready because you're going to a meeting at Shelley's house that afternoon. And now you're here. And now you're going to open your eyes. Because today we get to talk about secrets. Today we get to talk about secrets of the worst kind, or maybe the best kind, depending upon what your opinion is. So, what is a secret? You know, whenever I dive into something, I'm always looking to find out what the dictionary says. And I was amazed because as little information as I found on the internet about secrets through all of my research, I've got a chapter in my book on secrets, there really wasn't much about secrets. So I was really surprised when I found all of these definitions in an online dictionary. But all of it, for example, kept hidden from knowledge or view, concealed in a secret identity, a secret passageway, or something not expressed, inward secret desires. And there's just all kinds of these definitions that are in here. Another definition as a noun, something that is kept out of the knowledge or sight of others and is known only to oneself or a few. Our secrets, the secrets we carry, the secrets that are about us or about others that we carry, they're all connected to our deepest wounding. Much of it is connected to our childhood wounding. And they bring up all of these things. They bring up shame and guilt and separation and judgment and manipulation and loneliness and addiction and cycles of all of these. And every single one of those secrets has a cost to it. It's taking something away from us. And if you've noticed in our world today that people can't keep secrets anymore, this is why there are people now coming forward to talk about their secrets. You know, one of the things that I found really fascinating is that some of our greatest secrets, and I don't mean great in terms of how wonderful they are, I mean great in terms of most significant, are sexual secrets of things that have been done or to us, or we did to someone else, or someone did to someone, and it creates all of this pain. And especially in thinking about sexual abuse, you know, think about this country that we live in, that the way that our principles and everything was defined put us in a place where we were all afraid to talk about sex. Whether it was good or bad, it didn't matter. We all were afraid to talk about sex. So the perpetrators of sexual abuse already had a huge advantage. They had a whole society that was built around the idea that if I do something to you, you probably won't tell anybody. And so, wow, what a deal. And it was great while it lasted, but it's over now. And as time goes on, we're going to continue to see more and more people come out and share their secrets and share what happened to them because every person has a right to live a life apart from shame. See, the most significant thing about secrets is not the secrets. It's the shame that comes from the secrets. It's the shame that we look at ourselves and we see ourselves as less than, as not enough, as someone who is defective in the way that we were born, the way that we lived our lives, the way that we were abused, the way that all these different things happened. We're not defective. We are innocent. That's why we did that meditation a few minutes ago. Because the truth of us is, no matter how many secrets we have, no matter how many secrets we share, how many secrets we're trying to protect, the truth is that we are innocent. We haven't done anything wrong that would warrant us believing that we're somehow defective. So this topic is really important to me because, as many of you know, I'm a product of incest. And I grew up in a house where I believed I had to be perfect, silent, and invisible to keep my abusive, alcoholic father and his temper at bay, to keep him from hurting me or my grandmother. And so I grew up believing I had to be perfect, silent, and invisible. And if I just did that, I'd be safe and I'd survive and everything would be good. But that's not always how it turns out. So I want to go back into this area of sexual secrets because as a product of incest, I spent the first 18 years of my life believing that the father and that the man and woman who raised me were my parents. My father died when I was 13. My mother died when I was 18. 3 days after my mother's funeral, I was back up to the house I had lived in speaking to a neighbor. And their neighbor said, "Gee, I'm really sorry to hear about your grandmother." And of course, being the good analyzer that I was, and I just kept quiet, but I didn't have a grandmother. I had never known any of my grandmothers. So who was this woman that she was talking about? And that began a quest in my life to discover who I was. And the first place I went was an older brother. And I was sitting having lunch with him one day, and I said, you know, I don't even know what I said. I want to know about my birth. I want to know where I came from, who my family was, how I got here. And he looked at me, and he, in a very cold, his face turned beet red. He looked at me and he said, "We do not talk about that in this family." So how defective would I have to be for my own brother to not be willing to talk about my very existence, about how I got here? What would I had to have done? How bad would I have to be in order to have that show up in my space? And so it became a place of shame for me. I must not be enough. I must not be worthy to be here. And so I carried this shame for a very, very long time. And this is what's really important, is that it's, again, I'm going to repeat this probably way more times than you want to hear it. It's not about the secrets. It's about the shame that they cause. It's about what we take from the secrets and decide must be true about ourselves. One of the articles that I read was on a website called Psych Central, and I just want to read one of the things here. It says, "Feelings that correlate with shame about a secret include feeling worthless, small, and or powerless. Guilt stirs up feelings of remorse, tension, or regret. Secrets about one's mental health, traumatic experiences, unhappiness with one's physical appearance tend to evoke shame. Hurting someone would create guilt." The thing is that we all get into a space where we are willing accomplices to keep the secret, to not let anyone know. And shame is really powerful. Well, let me talk about secrets again for a second. So the secrets themselves, even though they feel powerful, if you've been asked to keep a secret, if you've been expected to keep a secret, that secret seems really, really powerful. But there's a secret about secrets. And that secret is that the more times you tell the secret to someone that you trust, I'm not suggesting you post it on the internet, okay, but the more you tell the secret to people that you trust, the more power that secret loses. and eventually you can tell the secret. Like, I got to a point where what I just shared with you about my own being a product of incest, I've told it so many times that I actually reached a place where a friend of mine that I was on a podcast with him, and he came up to me a few days later and he said, dude, you have to prepare people for what you're about to tell them. Because this is not something people hear every day, and so you kind of need to walk him into it. But the reason that he told me that was because I've told the story so many times, I'm okay with it. It's my history, but it's not my identity. And so it takes, it really takes a lot of work to walk through your secrets. One of the things I had always wanted to do in writing a book was to be able to speak in front of a group of people and quote from my own book. So thank you all for making a dream come true for me. But if you know Dr. Brené Brown, I'm sure most of you have heard of her. She talks in her book, The Gifts of Imperfection, which is one of my favorite books. She says that the shame is the fear of being unlovable, that we are hopelessly flawed or defective. And I think that's really powerful. And she said that there's really, she encourages us to become shame resilient. And in being shame resilient, she offers 3 things that we need to know about shame, okay? First, we all have shame of something, maybe many things. It depends on who we are. We're all afraid to talk about it, all right? Because we all have the same idea that if we just don't talk about it, it'll go away. We all have the same idea, or most of us, for part of our lives, that if I just don't talk about it, if I just put a wall up, the wall will know to keep the bad stuff out, but let the good stuff in. That wall is going to know to keep the pain out, but let the love in. Okay, I don't know about you, but I've played with walls much of my life, and that's not how walls work. Walls keep everything out, the good and the bad. And the bad isn't even coming from the outside. The bad is an inside job in the first place. So all the wall is doing is keeping love out. The third thing that Brené Brown says, the less we talk about it, the more control the shame has. So it's important for us to talk about it. One of the things I wanted to do here was to share about how significant shame is in terms of our mental health. I know we have some therapists here and counselors, and you've probably all seen your share of clients, patients who show up and they are just racked with shame. And they probably have a little guilt mixed in the cocktail as well, right? So this is something, again, from Suzanne Handler, and she says, what must be the toll on the body of the secret keeper? In an article in Psych Central, Suzanne Handler writes that keeping secrets can cause illness. She says that keeping traumatic secrets can result in excessive stress and guilt for the person carrying the burden of knowledge, even when that silence is thought to be the best possible option for all concerned. Physical symptoms such as anxiety, headaches, backaches, digestive problems often can occur when disturbing secrets are internalized rather than shared, especially over a long period of time. Persons harboring such discomfort often turn to alcohol or other addictive substances to mask their pain. It is important to remember that both the person keeping the secret as well as those who live with the secret keeper, including young children, can experience similar physical and mental health issues. This is so important because if you have children, or you want to have children, or you know of someone who wants to have children, any shame that they're carrying with them is in some way going to be passed on to those children. And so it's really, really important to be able to deal with that. So what I'd like to do now is, I've got some questions that I'd like to ask and for discussion. But I'm going to ask you to do something a little different, because I find that most of us, including me, when I am given an opportunity to respond to a question, I think I know what I want to say right away, and so I'll jump and do it. But maybe I don't know what I think I know, and so maybe I haven't given myself enough time to allow the answer, or to allow my answer to surface, to be able to really communicate something. So I'm not suggesting that you have to do it one way or the other, but I'm going to ask you to consider